Pilates Body Raven says Pilates should be for rich white women and not for people of color. What's your thoughts on this, guys?
To this, or maybe we're new instructors, we haven't been trained. Pilates is a legacy.
It was literally created in a prison. It was created in a prison cell by a man who was a fucking circus performer. He was also a boxer as well, but he was a fucking circus performer. That's who Pilates was created by. Joseph Pilates. Y'all want to get on here so bad and change what Pilates is, what it's supposed to be, who can do it, who cannot do it. No. The history where it started makes it to where you can't do that. Pilates was always supposed to be diverse. It was created in fucking prison. It was created in prison. I keep reiterating that because you guys keep thinking that Pilates is this high-end thing. It's really not. It's really not. It's not. Capitalism is the reason why you guys get to play in people's face when it comes to this conversation about Pilates. Pilates is not the creme de la creme of working out. It's not. It's not.
Did anyone else see that influencer's post where she basically says that if a Pilates class has black or brown women in it, it's because it's not luxury and it's cheaper, and that luxury classes aren't going to be diverse, and that's like going into Bottega and saying, where's the diversity? Was it just me that saw that?
Do you think you're one of them? Didn't SK already show us the approximate distance between you and them? I thought that by this point we were already well informed that Raven, you are not one of them. For those who don't know, Love is Blind's Raven has gone on a rant about Pilates in relation to diversity and how basically it was never meant to be diverse. But because during Raven's video, she actually said that we should think critically. So to honor what we've been told, using your own school of logic, I'm not even going to incorporate the fact that Pilates was not created to be a luxury. It was made in jail for people who ain't having a lot of money. We're not even going to go into all of that stuff. It doesn't matter. I'm going to roll with your train of thought. And if your train of thought holds that a luxurious experience is defined in part by its lack of diversity, and that is what propels its exclusivity, and I were a person who were looking for a luxurious experience that is, again, in part defined by its lack of diversity, which would then make it more exclusive, why would I book that experience with you? You're the diversity. Like, what are you actually trying to tell us? Does this mean your classes are half off or something? Because if the diversity is what makes this experience less luxurious, why would I experience it with you? You're not one of them. Does this mean you're having a sale or something? Your classes can't cost as much? What am I to do with this information?
And this is why I have to keep reassuring women who look like me that Pilates is for you too. Bar is for you too. Any of these boutique fitness studios that you're afraid to enter because you feel like you don't belong is for you too. And I love being in my bar studio. I'm probably the only pepper in the salt shaker. But when I see another pepper walk in, I say, welcome home. Come on. The literal premise of Pilates is accessibility. Accessibility. You don't have gym equipment. You don't have no money. Pilates. You can't walk. You can't do the activities that you once could do because of an injury or a chronic illness. Guess what? That workout was taken, packaged up in this pretty little, it's too good for you package. Let's add a $5,000 price tag on it. And now, come get on this reformer and pay your life savings. I will continue to fight the good fight to encourage him, her, him. Guess what? You belong here. Over 200 pounds, you belong here. Limited funds, guess what? Get class pass, because you belong here.
as someone whose entire business, purpose of my business,
and this is why I've maintained my body to where I can still be certified to teach Pilates. Because what are you talking about? Literally in the comments saying, haha, it's a prison workout, then why would it be expensive? Why would it be inaccessible to people? Joseph Pilates made Pilates for everybody. It was originally made for disabled veterans. What are you talking about? And you're talking about my brand, my business. Pilates is not supposed to be your brand or business. It's supposed to be a workout. That's why I still want to do. I want my class to be full of people who wouldn't be able to go to yours. And I'm so skeptical of going to women like this to even train with them because they're just like, y'all think that Pilates is like some exclusive 300 club where you all wear Aritzia and Lululemon and pay $500 to barely do anything that's Pilates related, just intense workout. It's so irritating. Like, what are you doing? And then you made this video and you stood 10 toes down on it and you're so loud and wrong and you're certified. That's horrifying. Because at the end of the day, y'all are gonna have to accept that Pilates wasn't made for able-bodied people that wear $400 clothes. It was made, like, Joseph Pilates entered with injured World War I soldiers. Do you think that they could afford your workout now? If they can't come back and do it, you're not even doing Pilates in my mind. Like, I want to find someone more reliable to train with, but all of these studios are literally filled with the same garbage that she's saying. It's just so irritating. Like, y'all aren't even really doing what Pilates stands for anymore. But you're like, oh yeah, sign up for mine. Like, no! Ugh! My mother became fully disabled by the time I was 11 or 12. And we used to do yoga and Pilates together, and I want to learn how to do real Pilates, not what this woman's talking about, not what women and the women like her do every fucking Sunday. That's not Pilates to me. I want to learn the original form, like mat Pilates, so I could go take it back to my disabled mother, and I want to open up a class for other disabled people, because that's what Pilates was actually for.
It's true what they say. If you let somebody talk long enough, they will shoot themselves in the foot, and I fear that's what Pilates Body Raven just did. Like, I don't surprise easily, but I am rather surprised that she would say something like that. She's discussing inclusivity and diversity in the Pilates space and comparing it to Bottega. At this point, I'm just waiting to see if her follower count starts to drop, because she may have just lost a lot of black women. So if you haven't seen what she said, go check it out. I saw somebody else responding to it and made me go look, and wow.
Pilates Body by Raven could not have made it any more obvious that she feels Pilates should only be for white women who are rich. She did this video trying to explain that in Pilates, she advocates for diversity, but then she goes on this very odd rant about how Pilates is like buying designer. She compares it to bodega, saying that if you were to go into a bodega store, you wouldn't question the price of it because it's luxury. She tries to compare this to Pilates, saying that pretty much the only people who should be able to go to Pilates are the ones who can afford it, to afford those expensive classes in those luxury studios. And I think another point she was trying to make is that she refuses to make Pilates more accessible by lowering her prices. She feels that you should just pay the prices that she has, and she doesn't want to include more people by lowering prices. But I think she completely missed the point, because when people rant about it being accessible, they're not saying that it's expensive, because it is. But to be able to make it more accessible by asking your class, is anyone pregnant? Does anyone have any injuries that I can help you work around? That's making it accessible. Raven completely missed the point. You can actually find the full clip. Someone clipped it. It's on a page if you want to go and listen to it. But y'all let me know what you think.
I saw that video from Pilates by Raven yesterday where she's essentially asserting that Pilates is by white people for white people, and then I'm also seeing a lot of very correct takes as to why her take is incorrect. And obviously I'm a white woman. I talk a lot in this app about the dynamics of women, and then I've also spent my professional career thinking about communities of practice, and that often means thinking about what equity truly looks like in a community. So while we all agree that her take is incorrect, I'd like to talk a little bit about what I noticed in that video about her justification that was incorrect. And for me, it really lies in her conflating a lot of words that do not mean the same thing. For example, the cost of attending a Pilates class is a barrier to entry. That does not necessarily mean that the class is exclusive. You can have someone pay to be in a physical space and still make that a welcoming space to a diverse group of people. I feel like this is something that a lot of fitness spaces do very well and very visibly with very low effort. So like, for example, like a fitness studio that will have a pride flag on their window, or they'll say something like everybody is welcome here on their window on a sticker. This is also like very easily backfired by the conversation of wanting Pilates to be accessible, there being free classes on YouTube. So inherently, it's not that the practice of Pilates is exclusive. It's the argument that people have to pay to go to more luxury studios. But then even with that, we are conflating that Pilates as a practice is the same as attending a class in a luxury workout studio. The word accessibility in a fitness space also speaks to how that movement is being done by a diverse group of people, again. So if at the beginning of a class, an instructor can say like, does anyone have any injuries? Is anyone pregnant? Like, how can I modify this for you? That's accessibility. And this is just like word choice. It's not even taking into account the history of Pilates, like the inherent mission, I suppose, to be accessible. I'd also like to say on another end, exclusivity is not necessarily bad in a community-oriented space. Sometimes exclusivity exists so that a certain group feels safe, feels comfortable. So this could be like a space that is oriented to women or a space that is oriented to minorities. And a lot of times those spaces exist to allow opportunity for progress in a system that is not made for those people. In those situations, however, that exclusivity exists because you're talking about something that's aligned with an identity. A movement practice is not aligned with an identity and therefore should not be an inclusive space. There are so many people in the fitness and wellness space more generally that are doing an incredible job of forming really inclusive spaces and creating community around inclusivity. All that to say, there's not really space for the conversation that Pilates should be an exclusive space, not just because the take is incredibly wrong, but also because the justification just doesn't exist.
This creator has already deleted this video that everyone's talking about, but luckily I screen recorded the whole thing and want to talk about it line by line.
I've seen a lot of commentary surrounding Pilates and proximity to whiteness, as well as disrupting the Pilates space in order to create more diversity and inclusivity. As someone whose entire purpose of my business, my brand goals is about providing accessible and affordable Pilates to a diverse demographic of women. That is what I started all of this on, so let's talk about it.
So the video starts out as promising. I'm thinking, oh, she's using a lot of buzzwords and she's going to be pro diversity and inclusion in Pilates because that's what she says she's built her brand on.
What are some words that you think about when you think of like a really nice designer brand? I think of legacy, about craftsmanship. I know a lot of the products are probably like handmade. Like you would never walk into Bottega and be like, where's the diversity? Where's the accessibility? Babe, there is no accessibility. This is Bottega. I want you to think the same way about Pilates. And I know a lot of us who just got into this, or maybe we're new instructors, we like haven't been trained. Pilates is a legacy, okay? People have worked generations to preserve this method of exercise. To even just training an instructor classically through a good program takes 500 hours minimum, okay? Nothing about Pilates is getting cheap.
So now she's drawing parallels between the words diverse and cheap. So according to her logic, if we're going to treat Pilates like a luxury store, if we walk in and wonder, why is there no diversity? We're the problem. Completely dismissing, I don't know, racial disparity, systemic racism, disadvantages that people were born with because of the color of their skin. When you're going to talk about diversity, and she's really comfortable calling out newbies to Pilates that are asking valid questions who want to spread it to a broader audience and make it more accessible. I thought that's what you're all about, girl.
And just to be clear, I'm all for the accessibility of Pilates. But I do.
What I'm hearing is that other people can go out and make it accessible and make it more diverse, but she has no interest in providing that space for people.
I do want some of the Pilates newbies to think a little bit more critically before we come on here talking about, okay.
Speaking of thinking critically, I'm very curious. Did you grow up in America? Have you taken one history course? You should actually be the one who's thinking more critically about what you say. I mean, the fact that she put diverse in quotes kind of says it all, but if anybody is still watching this video, please let me know what you think in the comments.